This is the Football Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by your performance enhancing dads. What's going on, fellas?
Not a lot. How's it been?
Oh, man, it's been. At least I'm not Boyer.
True.
So, fantasy's been rough on me all the way around this year. So, you know,
I didn't have that much fun this week either.
I know the feeling.
So let's jump into maybe how bad I was at picking the winners last week, because that seems to be a trend.
You want to know?
I lost again this week.
How do you think you did picking winners last week, Ty?
I don't remember who I picked, but I think we all picked the same, right?
We did not, because Boyer picked himself to beat Robbie.
Oh yeah, well that was a dumb decision.
I agree. It did not work out.
I probably went 5 wins just because I feel like most of them were favorites.
We all picked favorites, and we all were right. You and I went 6-0. Boyer went 5-1. So on the season, 49 wins for me, 48 wins for Boyer, and 44 wins for Ty.
I can't gain any ground in that one.
You gained 1 on Boyer.
This week will be a little different. I think we might have some different picks coming in. So
You're creeping up slowly but surely.
Don't call him Shirley.
With 2 weeks left, I don't know that I can make up that ground. Just like
You're just going to have to pick the opposite of me and Boyer on all of them. Do you want to pick last? Is that how we should do it?
Boyer and I pick the same ones every time. All right, let's we don't have any bad lineup decisions for this week. None of the games were really that close. Boyer did play his optimal lineup and still only got, what, 60 points?
64.
Good work, Boyer. Optimal
That's
lineup.
no way to keep your pants on.
I say be prepared for naked photos, boys. I've got ideas. I'm thinking of them.
I'd say I'm always prepared for that from you, but I don't want to make it too weird. So, all right. Well, let's jump into these updated division scenarios, and then we'll talk about some wild card. Andy, go ahead and run us through some of these. See who's still in it, who might have found a way out.
Yep. So I am eliminated from the division with my loss to Friar last week. I know everybody is very broken up about it, but we're in good spirits over here. Robbie clinches the division with a win this week. For Friar to win the division, he needs to beat Robbie next week or this week, and then he needs me to beat Robbie as well the following week while he beats Boyer. I'm assuming that that's a given.
Hey Boyer, you didn't see like any updates from Project Mayhem, like the team come out about being eliminated from division or like not feeling good about wild card or anything? You didn't see anything come out about that yet, right?
I did not.
I feel like they're always in the playoff. I feel like they, would throw something out there upset or like, I don't know. I feel like
I wish Friar the best. He deserved the win this week. We did everything we could, same way we did everything we could before we sold Kelsey that week against Colin when we scored the 2nd most points and still lost. 3rd most points this week, still lost. Sometimes that's the way it goes. We can't all be Chris and Robbie in this world, and just wasn't my year.
All right.
On speaking of Chris, Chris needs to win out. Chris needs Ty to beat Paul this week, and he needs Paul to beat Colin in week 15 in order to have a chance at winning the division. That seems highly unlikely because Ty's not going to beat Paul this week. But Ty, if you beat Paul this week, things would get very interesting in a lot of different ways. So consider it. Maybe try this week.
I got like an 8% chance. My chance is lowered from earlier.
Well, you're gonna need to pick yourself in the pick'em to catch up there. So, you really could do a lot.
That means my chances just went further down. The teams I picked never do well.
Paul needs to win out to win the division. Colin just needs to beat Paul in week 15, unless Ty manages to beat Paul this week. So it's it's going to be Colin or Paul. Chris needs a lot to happen for him to have a chance, but we'll see. Ty, you can make things interesting.
I'll try my best.
Jeremy clinches with a win this week. Jeremy plays Charlie. He's 2 games up. Charlie needs to win out and have Jeremy lose to Walker next week as well. So that's a pretty tall order for Charlie to get division, but we'll know a lot more after this week. Jeremy and Charlie's matchup should be pretty good. Walker, with the loss last week, was eliminated from both the division and the wild card. So his Cinderella scenario did not come true. No surprises, but it was fun to talk about.
Yep.
So divisions are pretty straightforward. The leaders have solid leads. Jeremy and Robbie both have an opportunity to clinch this week. We'll see what happens. Wild card. I'm technically still in the wild card hunt, but that involves Paul losing out, which means he would have to lose to Ty this week. So nobody's expecting that to happen, but technically, if everybody finishes 8 and 7, there's a window for me, but it's smaller than Walker's window was last week.
So what I just heard is that you're eliminated from wild card.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's got about an 8% chance going into this week.
Before the podcast, you were giving yourself a 12% chance to beat.
I know. I told you I already dropped it. It's fine.
No, it's 8. It's gonna keep going down. As before we get to Sunday, it's gonna be like 2%.
Well,
as more of Ty's guys get hurt. Chris, Charlie, and Fryer all need to gain a game on Paul in order to win, or in order to have a shot at wild card. Assuming Paul beats Ty this week, then that means that Paul would have to lose to Colin in week 15, which should be a competitive matchup, but that's definitely within the realm of possibility. Colin's top scorer in the league. Chris, Charlie, and Fryer all would also need to pass Paul in points, and Chris and Fryer are not very close. Paul currently has 1351, Fryer has 1220, and Chris only has 1200. So Charlie and I were really the only ones that were within striking distance of Paul in terms of points. I'm pretty much out of it now, and Charlie needs help because he needs to beat Jeremy this week and then win his matchup against, I think, Duo next week and have Paul lose to Colin next week. So Fryer and Chris are looking at hoping for the same everybody's 8 and 7 scenario, but then having one of them be 9 and 6 to squeak in that way, which again requires Ty to beat Paul this week. So Ty, we're all cheering for you. It would be really interesting on a lot of different levels if you were able to beat Paul this week. But that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, Paul sucks.
Paul has a good team. Paul's bench is going to outscore your team this week, Ty.
You remember how I was happy to have Paul instead of Walker before the season?
I do remember that.
And Paul sucks, and it's fine. He still sucks. It's fine. It's fine.
If Paul wins out and Colin beats Chris this week, they would both be 10 and 5. And in that scenario, Paul would win the division and Colin would be the wild card. So there's a window here for Colin to be wild card. I think that Colin has I'll say effectively clinched a playoff spot, because the only person that can pass him in record if he loses out is Paul, which means that he would be tied with anybody else who ends up 9 and 6, and he has a pretty comfortable lead knowing that Paul would have to pass him for him not to win the division. I guess there was one scenario where Chris could win the division, but regardless, because of his points being the tiebreaker there, I think it's pretty safe to say that Colin is our first team to clinch a playoff spot. even though it's a technically clinched because of his points advantage.
Yeah.
And then naked update, Boyer still sucks. Boyer just wasted his best opportunity to get a win because Robbie only scored 84 points, but Boyer's team only scored 64, so that one wasn't even competitive. Then he's got me this week and Fryer next week, both of which are probably not good matchups. Boyer's team's bad. Looking at the other potentially naked teams, Ty and Duo are only 1 game ahead of Boyer, but Ty's 90 points up with only 2 weeks to go. So even if Boyer found a win somewhere, Ty's going to win that tiebreaker because 45 points a week is a pretty tall order for Boyer's team to score, let alone score more than Ty's. So you would have to win both of your games, Boyer, to pass Ty, I would think. Which means that if the Duo beats Walker this week and you lose to me, then you're pretty much naked. You're already pretty much naked because your schedule's rough, but I've scored 50 points before. Fryer scored 40 something the week before this past week. I am very aware of because Chris got a win in the 60s. And then I did not get a win with 119 against the same opponent just 1 week later. Chris.
Yeah, my team is bad. I understand that. And I need a little bit of luck if I'm going to beat somebody. And I just don't have the normal Hurricane Ditka luck this year. It's just not there with me. So if anybody has any suggestions on what naked poses I should do, I'm willing to start entertaining those. So I can mentally prepare my brain, my body, my photographer for those poses.
Well, we know
prepare your personality.
We're always going to try the raise men, so go ahead and blow your shit trying that, and then move on.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that one last, so that way I at least can take the other 2 pictures.
Also, Andy, Boyer can't pass me in naked because I'm going to beat Paul this week and make everything more fun. And then there's no way Boyer could pass me.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about that.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact, looking at numbers here, Fryer scored exactly 99.98 points more against me than he did against Chris. Almost 0.02 away from a nice round 100-point addition. Just if anybody's looking at the math, that's more than 3 times the points that he had scored the week before. I'm just spouting the fun facts for our listeners.
I feel I'm getting a little salt coming from this side of the
It's information. It's fun. It's fun for people.
Just not for all of us.
Shut up and take your clothes off, Boyer.
All right, let's jump in. Hold on. Jump into that. Yeah, come on. No, all right. Just teasing, huh? All right.
Yeah, just teasing.
Let's jump into week 14 matchups. We will rush through a couple of these as some of them are pretty bad.
I put the good ones first.
And then that's fine. We can focus on the good ones first, but then we will rush through the last ones.
Or we can flip it. I don't care.
No, we can go first. So I'm gonna jump into Robbie versus Fryer. We talk about Robbie's team pretty heavily every week. So he doesn't have Damian Harris this week. Thielen's out. He did pick up Hilliard, if you like that, against Jacksonville. But he's got Fournette and Jacobs in at running back, Mooney and Cooper at wide receiver, Tevin Coleman, which is probably not playing this weekend, so maybe Hilliard fills in there. Joe Burrow at quarterback, and the Buffalo combo of kicker and defense. Are you guys starting Shenault or Hilliard and the flex there for Coleman? I'm assuming Coleman's out. He popped up on the concussion protocol today, so I don't imagine he's playing this weekend.
Guys, I'm going to be honest. I haven't heard of half of these guys, and Robbie's about to clinch the playoff spot. So, I don't know. Also, unless he wants to roll the Buffalo defense against the Bucks, he might want to consider picking up a defense.
Yeah. Like we talked about last week, I don't know how many defenses are out there and readily available at this point that are worth a damn. But
I'll look. You guys talk
Okay.
about other things.
you look, Boyer, Chenault, which has been not great. Dontrell Hilliard, Tennessee versus Jacksonville. Really, those are his only options unless he picks somebody up.
I mean, I'd probably roll out Hilliard and just run the hot hands and see what happens. Chances are he gets 5 points, but that might be more than what Chenault gets anyway, and that's pretty much all his options are. Robbie's team was not very good without Derrick Henry, and then Thielen and Harris aren't available for him. So, like, his team, which we've been ragging on for a few weeks for good reason. I think the last 3 of the last 4 weeks he's hit under 85 points with the one big week in between. So he's not looking good going into the playoffs. He had built a big lead. He has run into a little bit of luck. He got me where he won with the 85 points. It's not because his team is terribly good without Derrick Henry right now. Derrick Henry was really pulling his team up. So now no Thielen, man. Now no no Harris. Man, his team is rough. Woof woof.
Right. Well, and so Hilliard, week 12 had 12 carries, 131 and a touchdown, but he had a 32-yard carry and a 68-yard touchdown. Mm-hmm. So you put those 100 yards out of there on 2 carries, you're back down to 31 yards on 10 carries.
Right.
So not that you're gonna take out all of the big runs, but in theory, he had 2 big runs that took care of it. You still got Deontay Foreman there, but Laviska Shenault hasn't cleared 3.3 points in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I'm running the hot hands.
Right. You got to play the running back and hope he gets touches.
He's got to hope that he just gets he needs some home run players anyway in this matchup. I mean, Fryer's got a good enough team that he's going to need to put up points, and Hilliard's is more likely to put up 20 points than Chenault is.
Yeah, well, and even then, look, Treadwell has become the number 1 receiver in Jacksonville out of nowhere. So I don't even know what to do with that whole Jacksonville team. Anyway, enough with Robbie. Robbie, I don't know where you're at. Let's move on to Fryer's team. Fryer's got Brady. He's got Mike Evans, both going against that Buffalo defense. McLaurin, Montgomery, and Madison. Montgomery didn't practice today. I don't know if that's just a rest day. I don't know if this is going to become an issue come the weekend.
They said it was a lot of things. I don't know that any one of them is serious, but like the headline that I saw said various was his reason for sitting out. Right. Yahoo says shoulder, groin, and glute.
Right. So he popped up on the injury report today. So I don't. Maybe it's just a rest day for him, saying, "Hey, he's nursing all of these and he should be good for the weekend." I mean, we'll see what everything plays out as later, but let's assume that he's playing for now.
And Fryer's got him handcuffed if he's not. So,
and then you look at you got Madison or Cook, depending upon who's playing in Minnesota. You got Kittle, you got James Conner, Prater, and the New Orleans defense. Outside of that, he's got Tennessee's defense against Jacksonville. But New Orleans against the Jets is probably just as good.
Yeah. I would roll with New Orleans, I think. I don't like the Tennessee defense in general. So even though they're playing Jacksonville, I'm not jazzed about the Titans.
Tennessee's defense tore it up 4 or 5 weeks right there in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But they were nothing, and these last couple of weeks they've been nothing. So
New Orleans has been pretty consistent most of the year. They're a good defense. I just roll with them.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. So, all right. I mean, he's got Christian Kirk. We're probably not starting him. Emmanuel Sanders. We're probably not starting him. You got Herbert and Cook on the bench. You're playing whichever running back's healthy in Chicago, whichever running back's healthy in Minnesota. No other real options. He does have Houston's defense on the bench.
Against Seattle, who's been bad, but I don't think you're not taking the defense playing the Jets out. So
no, I'm just confused on him stashing 3 defenses with Houston.
I mean, I think was it a last week thing? No, they played Indy last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks
they
ago.
played Indy. They've got
They don't have anybody good coming up either.
Right. They got Jacksonville, Chargers, San Fran.
Ty, did we not tell you that that this is now a 2-defense league? You got to start 2 defenses, or
is it? Okay. All right. I'm just confused on the 3 defense stash. But other than that, who's going to win this matchup? Since Fryer doesn't really have a lot of decisions here.
I got Fryer. I think he's got an advantage at quarterback and receiver and tight end and flex and defense this week, where Robbie has maybe running back and kicker on Fryer.
I'm gonna go with Fryer on this one, I think.
What are you doing, Ty?
I'm also taking Fryer on this one. I can't do it.
I respect that.
Maybe one of the next ones I'll switch it up.
All right. I did find a defense for Robbie while Boyer goes to check on his kid. Cleveland against the Ravens. So I looked at the
offense hasn't been great. So
so the Ravens before the bye in 7 weeks were averaging less than 6 fantasy points allowed to opposing defenses, however you want to phrase that. Since the bye, they've played 5 games. Opposing defenses have scored 12, 18, 9, 11, and 10.
Jackson has been throwing picks like crazy lately.
He's been getting sacked a lot too.
Yeah, and when he's not getting sacked, he's just chucking the ball, which is blowing my mind.
Yeah, 22 sacks in those 5 games and 9 picks, 1 fumble and 1 defensive touchdown, 1 return touchdown.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But either way. All right. You want to jump into Chris and Colin real quick while Boyer's away, and then I'll have him jump in the next one.
Sounds good. So Chris has a lot of question marks on his team right now, but he's got Prescott, Jamar Chase, Devonta Adams, James Robinson, Alvin Kamara, TJ Hawkinson, Melvin Gordon, kicker in the defense. On the bench, he's got a lot of guys on a bye. AJ Brown is hurt, and he picked up KJ Osborne, which honestly isn't a bad pickup, but Adams is questionable. I don't think that's serious hamstring. Yeah, that's probably just a rest day. James Robinson didn't hardly play last week because of his knee, which is not good. He's just dealing with stuff. So the one guy that Chris has on his bench right now is a receiver, and he's got issues with Robinson and Melvin Gordon coming off of injuries this week. So that's a tough spot to be in.
And the only reason I would be concerned about Gordon whatsoever is because of how well Javonte Williams played last week. But I think if Melvin Gordon's healthy, he's fine. I think they're going to get him the ball. I think he's going to be put in there back into maybe not what he was, but he'll still end up getting probably 8 to 10 touches. So, I mean, you could get something out of it. I'm not going to say it's going to be a big workload, but.
Yeah, and they're playing Detroit, so I think there could be a big workload for both of them because, I mean, Denver's offense has not been good. Their defense has been hit and miss, but playing Detroit, I would like to think that they're going to be pretty comfortable in that game. So
Detroit's been close in a lot of games this year, though.
This is true. That's true.
I don't understand that team.
No, they're bad.
Yeah, and they killed.
They're like your team.
Just bad?
Bad. Running backs are hurt, and they were close some of the games they played.
and not to pour salt in the wound, but I had an 8-game parlay that all hit except for the Vikings couldn't beat Detroit. So that one killed me a little bit.
That sucks. Didn't your mom teach you not to bet?
I thought that was a safe bet.
I don't blame you. All right, let's move to Colin's team because there's not a whole lot of lineup decisions here for Chris. If he ends up with injury issues, he's going to have to probably drop Bourne and Devonta Parker, which is not a huge issue, I would think. Colin's got Stafford, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Cordero Patterson, Najee Harris, Darren Waller, Hollywood Brown. On the bench, he's got Taylor on a bye this week, which makes this matchup look closer than it otherwise would have been. He's got Noah Fant, which I don't think you would put Fant in if Waller's playing. If he's going, you're playing him. Ayuk against Cincinnati would be the other one because Waddle is also on a bye. So Ty, you see a spot to get Ayuk in here? You leaving it as he has it? Hopkins against the Rams could get shut down by Ramsey, but I mean, seeing him, he only had 2 catches against the Bears, but he did have that touchdown.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'm probably if I were to be putting Ayuk in, I'd put him over Hollywood Brown probably.
Yeah.
Just because I mean Hollywood Brown still gets the targets. He got 10 and 7 over the last couple of weeks, 8 catches, 5 catches, but 50 yards in both of those games. He could break one, but he could also not. But I just don't trust Ayuk over Hollywood at this point, just with what that Niners offense is, especially if Debo is going to be out again. I mean, he's not pulling coverage. So
yeah, for sure. Hollywood obviously has, I don't think he's missed any games. No, he sat the Bears game.
yes.
But he's got 99 targets in the 11 games that he's played, so that's 9 a week. Hopkins obviously missed some time. He's only played in 9 games, but he's only got 51 targets, which is less than 6 a week. He's only got 37 catches, which is barely 4 a week. 518 yards, which is 52 yards a week. No, a little more than that because it's 9 weeks. But Hopkins has 8 touchdowns. So that's good.
Yeah, they've been using James Conner, and that's been hurting Hopkins this year. I mean, they've been able to run the ball, and Connor's been getting the touchdowns. He's been taking up a lot of the workload, and when they get up at the end, they don't have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm leaving Hopkins in for the touchdown upside, though.
Yeah, are you actually making the move for Ayuk over Brown, or are you just saying if you want to, that's what you would have to switch?
That's the guy I would switch out if I was switching somebody.
Yeah,
but I'm not making that move. But that would be the one that I would move if I had to.
Yeah, I am leaving it as he has it. But I think both of these lineups are set as they're going to be set. So that said, Ty, who you got in this one? Or do you want to pick last so you have the option to pick different than us? Boyer, who you got in this one?
This one's tough. Without Taylor, Colin is looking a little weaker than normal. Chris hasn't been super great the last few weeks, if I remember right.
No. Chris hasn't cracked 90 in 6 weeks.
Now, granted, he hasn't had Kamara those weeks, and it's not like Kamara has been great, but that's still, a hole in the lineup to fill.
Yeah, Chase has slowed down a lot.
So I think I think I'm gonna go with Colin here.
I'm also going with Colin. Chris's team could be really good and has a lot of firepower still, but I mean,
it could also be bad.
Right, the guys that are banged up is a bummer. The fact that he's got AJ Brown on IR is a bummer. Kamara's been banged up. Robinson's banged up. Melvin Gordon was banged up. Like, it's just a lot not going Chris's way right now. But I hope Chris wins because it makes things more interesting, and that's what I'm cheering for at this point as somebody on the outside looking in. But picking with my analysis, I pick Colin.
Yeah. all those question marks on Chris's team and not having anybody to fill them with is killing any chance of me being able to pick him. If he had a stud on the bench, I mean, even if he had an Ayuk or had another halfway decent wide receiver that had that kind of upside to fill in for Gordon, or if Adams for some reason doesn't play, or whatever, like, or if James Robinson doesn't play because of this heel issue, you move Gordon up and have somebody to fill. But KJ Osborne's your option right now.
I'm not against KJ Osborne this week with Thielen being down. Yeah, I think that there's volume for him. But when you look at these other playoff teams that are just like, they've got options 3 deep on the bench with Colin and Charlie and Jeremy and Paul's teams that are just so deep. They've got so many options. And then you see Chris's team is half on the IR and half on a bye, and the guys that are on a bye are droppable anyways. Like, nobody's rostering Devontae Parker right now.
No. Well, and the other thing is Chase has been down 3 of the last 4 weeks he's played, and that doesn't necessarily excite me either.
Yep.
So I've got to go with Colin as much as I want Chris to win this one.
Chris's roster right now kind of reminds me of what Walker's normally looks like towards the end of the year, where it's solid as starters and is kind of elevated. Walker, he's gotten lucky. He hasn't had injuries, but his bench hasn't been great. And sometimes he makes the playoffs with that. But Chris has so many question marks right now on so many players and no bench to fill it that, I mean, one thing could just derail his entire potential for playoffs. And so it's a little unlucky there because I don't think those guys are normally injury prone players, Tyler. So that's a little unlucky for him, but he's got to hope that everybody plays. If everybody plays, I think he's got a really good shot, but we'll see.
Yep.
So, all right, Boyer, it's on you. Jump us into Jeremy versus Charlie, if you don't mind.
Oh, I have to do a thing and look at stuff and talk?
I mean, I'll talk if you want me to.
Yeah, I can do it. I just have to, catch up to myself. All right, I'm gonna start with Jeremy's team. He's got Murray, Jefferson, Tyler's favorite player, Lockett. He's got Zeke, Mixon, Andrews, Tyreek at the flex, Succop in Carolina against Atlanta. Looking at his team, he's got Tampa Bay's defense against Buffalo. I don't know how good I feel about that. He's got Tony, who had torn it up for 2 games like 8 weeks ago and hasn't done much since against the Chargers. I'm not seeing a lot on his bench that I would put over Tyreek Hill, Mixon, Zeke, Lockett, and Jefferson. How about you?
No, I agree. I think Lockett's been pretty dialed in since Russ came back. So looking at the options that he has on his bench, I'm not benching Lockett for Tony or maybe a returning Chase Edmonds or Donta Foreman. Like, no, you're not doing that. So I think Jeremy's lineup's locked in here, and it is looking pretty studly this week.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that Lockett can get you 3 points in any week, but he can also give you 30, and you just don't want to bench him because you're going to miss out on the 30s when you do that. So right. I think you got to keep him in, acknowledge you might get 3 points, but Jeremy's team is strong enough to deal with a week from Lockett. So I think that's actually kind of a huge kind of benefit to his team, that his team can deal with Lockett's down weeks and be just fine. But then when he gets Lockett's good weeks, he might be the best team in the league. So
for sure. And from Jeremy's perspective, what a relief to have Kyler Murray come back and put up 30 points for him, and just know that you've got your quarterback healthy to go into the playoffs. That's got to be big for him.
Which the dude had 11 completions for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns this week. And
you can do a lot against the Bears.
Yeah, didn't you know is that anything against the Bears is actually doubled just for shits and giggles?
That's fair. But on the real note, I actually might bench Lockett this week.
You of course you would.
No
of course bench
surprise.
Lockett.
Granted, Tyreek Hill has had plenty of down games, but you're definitely not.
Ty, who do you want to play for him? Tony coming off an injury?
Foreman?
You want to play Foreman?
I'd start Foreman. I don't think
it's because Foreman's got Jacksonville, so he's hoping for the garbage time, fourth and third quarter.
Foreman had 19 touches, and he was the lead ball carrier with Tennessee. Although Hilliard had the 2 big runs, outside of those 2 big runs, he didn't do much.
Yeah.
So I think Foreman is going to be the lead back there. And I think if Foreman can get 19 carries, 15 to 20 carries, let's call it, I think he could put up 70 to 80 yards. And that's more of a floor that Jeremy should be playing with this week.
I mean, Lockett's playing against Houston, which should give him a solid floor too.
I mean, I guess the only upside to Seattle right now is that they don't have a running game, so they have to throw the ball. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Foreman would be my change if I was making that. And I probably would, because I personally think Foreman's going to be 15 to 20 touches this week.
All right. And I think we just found out why Ty's team is 4-9. Let's move on to Charlie's team. Charlie's got Lamar. He's got Godwin and Deontay Johnson. He's got Eckler and Henderson. Kelsey. He's got Keenan Allen, who I'm showing as COVID-19. Is that this week COVID-19?
Yeah, pretty much all their receivers are having issues. Because Keenan Allen is vaccinated, he could play if he records 2 negative tests at least 24 hours apart. But that also means that Keenan Allen did test positive, because vaccinated players don't have any issues if they're a close contact, the way that their stuff is structured right now. So there's a good chance that he's sitting this week.
Okay. He's got the Minnesota kicker, Dallas defense against Washington. Notables on the bench. He's got Henderson's handcuff. He's got Barkley on the bench right now. Other than that, Denver's defense against Detroit.
Yeah, you gotta switch that in, I would think.
Yeah, that would be my thought as well. Aside
Dallas'
from that,
defense has been damn good lately, though.
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't think they're gonna have 4 picks again this week.
No, but even then, you take away those 8 points, it's still 9 points last week.
That's true.
So it's not like they played bad outside of that.
No.
Granted, when they intercept the ball, their offense hangs out a little bit longer, so New Orleans' offense isn't on the field. But it was still a good game regardless of the picks.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on.
So yeah, I mean, that would be the thought process here. So assuming Keenan Allen doesn't start, it's got to be Barkley if he's healthy, right?
Yeah, you got to put Saquon in there. I don't think any of his other options are worth considering.
All right.
Yeah, and if Barkley's not healthy and they say he's not playing, he's got Booker, then you play Booker.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
Smith's on a bye.
I'm not saying it's my favorite option, but if Saquon's out, Booker's going to get all the looks.
Now, here's an interesting tidbit here. Darrell Henderson, coming off a quad injury, it's expected that Sony Michel is going to be the feature back, regardless of whether or not Henderson is healthy or not. Do we trust that report at all, even a little bit? Are we worried about that? Do we put Barkley in over Henderson?
So here's how I see it.
If Keenan Allen's healthy, do we put Barkley in over Henderson?
I don't think I would. If they say that Henderson's playing, the part of the problem is that it's a Monday night game. So if it comes down to being a game time decision, then you probably have to roll with Barkley. But if Henderson's playing it's a key matchup for the Rams against the Cardinals here because this is their shot to get back towards having the division lead. And if they say Henderson's playing, it's because they want their best guy out there to help them win this game, right?
Yeah, I would expect that. Yeah.
And
So-
Sony has not been good against halfway decent defenses. He beat up on Jacksonville last week, but before that against Green Bay, when he got touches, he didn't do anything. When he got touches against San Fran, he didn't do anything. Against Tennessee, he didn't really do anything. So, like Andy's saying, if Henderson's in, I think they're going to use him. Sony's not been good against good defenses.
So does that report of Henderson and Sony, with Sony being a quote unquote the feature back, maybe it's more of a split than normal, whatever. Does that scare you at all to put Barkley in?
I think, it's Wednesday.
Are you super confident in Henderson? Doesn't matter what the coaches say. Doesn't matter what the beat reporters say.
I'm pretty confident that Keenan Allen's probably not playing, and you're putting Barkley in the flex, and we're moving on anyway.
Right.
That's fair. I think that report coming out on Wednesday doesn't bother me. If that's what they're saying Sunday morning, then maybe I would consider it. But right now, I want to hear more about it and hear how Henderson's feeling in practice on Friday and in warmups, in pregame on, or even practice on Saturday because it's a Monday night game. And I want to hear more about that.
Fair enough. Who you guys got this week?
Charlie.
Yeah. I gotta go, Jeremy. I think Lamar Jackson's the wild card here that could turn the tide in Charlie's favor, but just looking up and down, I think Jeremy's got a better shot this week.
Jeremy's team is stacked up and down. I'm going to go with Jeremy.
I mean, Charlie's team is no slouch either, but
right. But I mean,
he's dealing with these issues with Keenan Allen and Henderson, and now that Murray's back, Jeremy's team looks very strong. Are you guys worried about the Mixon illness and the fact that he had that stinger in the game on Sunday?
Nope.
I mean, I would keep an eye on it. But I'm not worried about it on Wednesday. I'll be worried about it on Saturday or Sunday if the reports are that he's still sickly.
Yeah, that's fair. I just know that the Bengals really jerked people around last year with Mixon's injury. They were like, well, he might play. Nope. Well, he might play. Nope. And like, it was just this ongoing thing of them not telling us what the hell was happening. So
I think that they had made the decision not to play him for the rest of the year, and they were just trying to keep defenses from keying in on the fact that Mixon wasn't going to be there. So I'm not as worried about that this year because they're leading the division, close to leading the division. Like they need him. They'll play him when he's ready. And I don't think they're going to try and mislead anybody necessarily this time around.
I think they're right behind Baltimore for the division.
Yeah, I know is that they're in the playoff race is my point. Like I know is that they're close. So if he's healthy in any way, shape, or form, they're putting him out there. It's not like last year where Burrow broke his back or whatever and died, and they were like, Mixon may or may not play, but we all knew that they were shutting him down because they didn't want to injure him last year either.
Yeah.
So I think that played a bigger part last year was the fact that they were bad and they didn't have their quarterback, so they just shut them down.
So Andy, you're big. Lamar Jackson could be the turning point here. Also, as long as he doesn't throw touchdowns to Mark Andrews.
True. I mean, I assume that if Lamar Jackson's having a huge game, that he's doing a lot of that work with his legs, but I could be wrong.
No, you're right. So, all right. And the good thing is, if Joe Mixon doesn't play, Jeremy's got Pirine, and he's also got Deontay Foreman. He could throw in there with 15 to 20 touches. And
right, we do like that Deontay Foreman guy. He's
all
really
right.
good.
Charlie,
after Ty's favorite segment, can we go through the playoff teams real quick and see how many of these running backs are handcuffed? Because I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really proud. I'd like to think that we influenced this a little bit.
I think that was you.
It might have been me.
Yeah.
we were on this podcast when Andy was saying it. All right.
Yeah.
I was here semi-supporting that. I supported it. I gave Paul AJ Dillon.
Yeah. And you never handcuffed Saquon or Swift or Gibson.
Good work, Ty.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why I would do that.
But
I was-
first, let's do Ty's favorite segment.
Pow! Pow! What are you drinking? Andy, you got your water tonight?
I do.
You little bitch.
Sorry.
What are you drinking, Boyer?
Got one of them sampler packs for Sam Adams, and this is Old Fezwig.
Old Fezziwig.
Sam
Yeah.
Adams. Yeah,
That's a good beer.
this is a good beer. I've quite enjoyed it.
So I got a 12 Days of Christmas Stone IPA pack.
Oh, nice.
And I'm starting on it now, so it's fine. I got a delicious IPA, and it's citrus IPA.
Oh,
So it's a pretty solid beer, 7.7% on the alcohol, which makes it even better, right?
there you go.
I think you started your 12 days of Christmas a little early.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. 12 days of drink miss. Whenever you feel like drinking, you take one.
My kid's advent calendar is keeping me very in tune with the number of days till Christmas.
Yeah, problem is we leave on the 22nd for Disney, so I'm
That's
leaving
right.
early. So I got to start a little early so I can get done with them.
That's fair. Okay,
I
that's
need to
fair.
have 12 days of Christmas when I got back after New Year's.
Gotcha.
So, all right. Andy, where are you at? I wanted to jump in on those handcuffs real quick, or do you want to finish out the matchups first?
Why don't we do it now since we're talking about it, and I'll just run through and call out the ones that are handcuffed. So Charlie's got Henderson backed up by Sony. He's got Barkley backed up by Booker. Jeremy has P. Ryan behind Mixon. He never did snag Pollard off of Walker, but that's all right. I've got Hunt and Dernis Johnson behind Chubb. Fryer has I think he's got Madison and Cook. He's got Herbert and Montgomery. He does not have Chase behind Connor because Jeremy just picked him up this week, but that's okay. Colin
I don't feel like Chase and Connor are like a handcuff situation.
I mean, Connor's been doing a lot since Chase has been out, and if it goes the other way, I mean, productivity could swing. So it's not exactly a handcuff situation where, Samaje Perine does nothing unless Mixon's out. But I mean, the value does shift if somebody goes down. Chris doesn't have anybody handcuffed, nor does Colin, I don't think. Paul does, though. He's got, in addition to having all of the running backs, he has Chuba Hubbard, which he dropped CMC because he's out for the year. He's got Dylan behind Aaron Jones, too, so good work there. Ty, you have the Buffalo running backs. Does that count?
That you said playoff teams.
I'm sorry. And then Robbie does not have anybody handcuffed. Well, he's got Henry and he just picked up Hilliard, so kinda. But that wasn't intentional.
And the problem is a lot of these handcuffs came mid-season as some of us were selling. So like you saying, yeah, hey, they did a good job in handcuffing. That didn't. Some of that didn't start till you sold Chuba Hubbard to Paul. I gave Paul AJ Dillon. Had I been in the hunt more, I probably wouldn't have moved AJ Dillon. So we couldn't say Paul was like good work getting your handcuff, but like good work getting your handcuff because I suck enough that I was willing to get rid of them.
Sure, but at the same time, like Paul went out and got him, and Jeremy didn't go out and get Pollard to back up Zeke. So there's a bit of a difference there. I mean, Jeremy has P. Ryan behind Mixon, so it's not like Jeremy's just flying by the seat of his pants like Colin is, but it is what it is. I just think it's interesting. I don't feel like we've ever had this level of handcuffing, and I'm kind of proud of us.
Yeah. No, I just thought it was, I just wanted to throw it out there that a lot of it did start happening once people started selling now. So it wasn't like people drafted handcuffs. It's not like people have been sitting on handcuffs all year. It kind of happened mid-season and as we were moving along.
Yep, that's fair. All right, let's get back to matchups.
All right. So I'm going to jump into me versus Paul just because I want to make fun of my team real quick.
Should be fast.
Yeah. So Paul's got Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, Gibson, which I had at one point, Mitchell, which I wanted to have at one point. Actually, he might not play anyway. Gronk, Aaron Jones, and Rams people on the back. Outside of that, I guess you could start Chuba in the flex, pending Debo's status. He didn't practice again, so I don't know that he's going to be playing this week. I think he's going to be out at least another. But Mitchell also is probably not playing this week. So I guess you play Chuba Hubbard and Aaron Jones there, and you're fine with it?
I'm guessing he's not real stressed about it, bud.
I'm not sure he is either. I wanted to go to the other side after I talked up Paul's team a little bit.
Fair.
So the other side has Patrick Mahomes, which has sucked most of the year, but, we traded for him. T. Higgins, which has come on a little bit stronger lately. DJ Moore, which sucks. I got the combination of Zach Moss that gets healthy scratched every now and then with Devin Singletary that can't put up more than a handful of points in a week. I've got Ty Johnson as my current running back too, because Tevin Coleman's not going to play, and DeAndre Swift is probably out again. I picked up Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end for Gesicki's bye week. We're not even sure Ricky Seals-Jones is playing, and since he's on my team, he's probably not playing because he's still going to be in.
They should paid you off.
Yeah, well, they should have. Then I got Bateman, and then I got a kicker in defense. So, who's going to win this matchup?
Ty, do me a favor and go drop Minnesota's defense and pick up Cleveland, because Minnesota's defense is ass and Pittsburgh's actually kind of decent.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm just suggesting that you try to beat Paul this week because it would make things very interesting for everybody.
And you think a defense is going to do that?
I think Minnesota defense is not going to do that.
Ty,
And if I pick up Cleveland, then you telling Robbie to do it, Robbie can't do it. And that also makes things more exciting if Robbie loses.
I mean, waivers are over, so you're both stupid for not doing something.
I did something. I picked up Ty Johnson.
Because you need to start him this week.
Ty, I am proud of you. I know some of the names that you just listed off on your team, which is better than my team. So I'm proud of you. But I will start off. Paul's going to win this one.
Is there any consideration for getting Galladay in there to just swing for the fences and hope that he finally has his big game, or do you think Bateman is the better bet?
I don't think Galladay is doing anything.
I mean, if I go pick up Cleveland's defense, maybe I need to take Bateman out. I don't know.
I don't know how it works. You're going to lose, bud.
I have zero faith in Galladay at this point.
Yahoo currently has me projected at a 17% chance.
That feels generous.
And then I had me at an 8. I'm going to take me to win this week.
Hey, you got to get it somewhere, bud. Well, hopefully for your sake, Charlie beats Jeremy, so that way you at least break even with us picks-wise, because this one's not going to happen.
At this point, I'm not catching you in picks anyway. I got to swing for the fences.
Yep, I like it.
All right, Paul's going to win this one. It's fine, but I'm going to pick me just because I have to make up some ground here. Boyer, you want to take you and Andy so you can make fun of your own team for a little bit?
Yeah, I like to make fun of my team. So my team has Tannehill, Brandon Cooks, who's a Houston wide receiver, so that's good. Russell Gage, who's a Falcons wide receiver, so that's good. Jamal
Wait, you have
Williams,
Patterson?
He's technically like an everything. He's technically a running back, kind of. Jamal Williams, who's a Lion, so that's good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's a Chiefs. They run the ball, right?
Sure.
You are nailing this roast of your team. I'm enjoying it very much.
Freiermuth, who's a rookie with a quarterback who can't throw and is retiring. Judy, who also has a quarterback who can't throw, and he's got 18 other guys to throw to. And then I have a kicker, which is probably the best thing about my team. And they're
Which
playing
is
against
sad because
Detroit,
your kicker's on one of the worst offenses in the league, too.
but they're playing against Detroit, so there's a matchup bonus there. I'm proud of my
true.
kicker right now.
Do you get a matchup bonus for Judy too then?
No.
Okay,
Judy
fine.
doesn't get the benefit of the matchup bonus.
Okay.
And then currently I have the Giants against the Chargers, so I could totally pick up the Cleveland Browns defense.
Watch him go off for 20 points and beat me.
Don't do it, Boyer, because I need the Cleveland defense apparently to help me win. I don't know.
I just want Paul to lose because of the chaos that it would
Boyer's
cause.
working on picking him up right now while we talk. I see him so adamantly staring at his phone.
Well, Ty, you had your shot.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Giants are projected for less than 4 points. Like, come on.
Boy,
Yeah.
are you gonna talk about Andy's team yet?
Ty, you starting Derek Carr against Kansas City and hoping that he has to throw? Or are you leaving Tanny in against the Jags?
Damn it, he beat me to him.
You should have listened to me.
I tried to race you last minute.
I had to try and not be naked.
I don't know why I have to be the one to tell you this. You got to look at this shit before waivers go through.
Listen, I don't look at a whole lot of stuff right now because I don't have any fab, and it just doesn't click in my brain at this point to make sure that there's free agents there because there are
I
no free
picked
agents.
Green Bay up 2 weeks ago to make sure that I had the best defense possible to kick your sorry ass.
But Andy, I want to hear the answer to the question: Tannehill or Carr?
I'm going Carr.
I'm playing Tannehill.
I thought you just said that the Titans were going to run it all over.
I said they're going to run at least 15 or 20 times.
And that's a lot.
Okay, but if we look at it, I mean, Tannehill's not throwing it 40 times a game, but if he averages 27 passing attempts a game, he'll be all right.
I mean, Carr is...
Is Waller playing this week or not? Because that makes a big difference.
It does make a difference.
I don't think he is. He's day to day, but they said it's pretty iffy.
I don't know. I'm playing Carr. I like that matchup a lot better. I don't like either of these quarterbacks very much, but this is what Boyer's dealing with. So I'm gonna go with the guy in a matchup where I think he's gonna have to throw it, as opposed to garbage time. Just run the clock.
Yeah, I'm flip flopping a lot. I think I've changed that lineup like 8 times.
Not helping.
I'm leaning. I've been leaning Carr, and that's why I keep on going back to Carr. And I'm like, that doesn't look good. And then Hill, and I'm like, no, that doesn't look good either.
But
You're not wrong.
Tennessee lost to Houston, putting up 13 points. Lost to New England, putting up 13 points. They might have to throw against Jacksonville. I'm not saying Tennessee's going to run all over Jacksonville and run that.
To who?
Okay, let's put it this way. Tannehill has 2 games all year over 20 points, and neither of them did he crack 22 points. Boyer's going to need more than 22 points out of his quarterback to beat me, I assume. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Derek Carr has cracked 20 points 5 times, but twice he cracked 22 points and got you 24. So that's your upside. You could get 24 points if you play Carr, but Tanny tops out at 22. So, clearly.
And Carr averages 35 to 40 pass attempts a game.
A lot more than Tannehill. Tannehill does more with his legs, but I'm not super excited about that right now either.
All right.
So Andy's team.
Talking about Boyer's team so much.
Yeah. So right.
Because he wants to keep his clothes on. This is a key matchup for him.
So Andy has Herbert, Lamb, Elijah Moore, Javonte, Chubb, Schultz. He's got Freeman. He's got Raiders kicker against KC. I think that's a solid matchup. Green Bay defense against Chicago. Super solid matchup. On his bench, Chase Claypool is forever on his bench, and we will forever talk about him potentially breaking into your lineup. But at this point, I'm okay with Elijah Moore, although Elijah Moore has a rough matchup with New Orleans. So, Ty, are you putting in Claypool?
So the current situation with Mike Williams is he does not have COVID. He is not vaccinated. And because he was a close contact with Keenan Allen, he has to not talk to anybody for 5 days since the time of that contact, which was on Monday, which means he won't practice at all this week. But as long as nothing changes, he can play on Sunday. So if Keenan Allen's out, I'm for sure playing Mike Williams.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting to happen right now, but I've got it penciled in as things currently stand as though he's not going to play just because I don't know what that's going to end up looking like. But I will not be playing Claypool tomorrow against Minnesota, which could be bad because Minnesota's defense blows, which is why Ty should have made a move. Minnesota's defense can get gashed, but Claypool just doesn't get the volume, and he and Big Ben have not been connecting on these deep throws anyways. So I'm not rolling those dice. I don't have to swing for the fences against Boyer. So I'm leaving Claypool on the bench, and I'm going with hopefully Elijah Moore or Mike Williams, and expecting them to get 8+ targets as opposed to Claypool getting 4.
I like it. Who you guys got? Andy has Andy.
Andy.
I have Boyer has Boyer.
Nice. I'm
I
making
have
up
to
another
believe.
team on
I have to believe
Boyer.
in something.
I picked 3 different than Boyer so far. I'm making up ground.
You have. This is true. Boyer, how confident do you feel in that pick?
Oh, not at all.
All right, I'm just
0%. But I'm picking myself for the rest of the time because I need to catch a break if I'm not going to be naked. I think Fryer's team actually might be a better option. I think that his team is more prone to having fluctuations in points scored. But it's not like your team can't. So I'm picking my team.
All right.
All right.
I respect that.
Let's jump on to the next game. The next game should be at least close, unlike these last couple. Andy, you want to take us through Duo versus Walker?
Yeah, so this one I mentioned earlier is kind of key for the whole naked thing because of the points situation. If Duo beats Walker here, Boyer's guaranteed naked. It doesn't matter if he wins a game. He would have to win 2 games to have a shot at keeping his clothes on at that point, which is very unlikely. So Duo, this is your shot to lock things in and be safe, comfy, cozy, warm in your clothes. That said, this week they're starting Taysom Hill, Cortland Sutton, Michael Gallup, David Johnson still. Who's that? Darren Williams for Kansas City?
Daryl.
I knew it wasn't Damian. Zach Ertz, Van Jefferson, Kansas City's kicker, Baltimore defense. On the bench, they've got Cam Newton against Atlanta, which was an embarrassment the last time he went out there. So don't know if you want to roll those dice. Sanders is hurt. Ridley doesn't like playing football anymore. JaMychal Hasty's not on my to-do list. Julio? You want to play Julio over Van Jefferson? I don't think so. Not against Jacksonville, not coming off an injury.
If I was going to play him over somebody, it would probably be over Gallup, assuming Cooper and Lamb are both healthy.
Nah, I like having Gallup in there. Gallup's going to get looks. Washington's defense isn't great against the pass. I definitely want Van Jefferson in there to hopefully see some looks against Arizona. I think that'll be a competitive, high-scoring game. So I'm leaving it how they have it, but that's not saying much.
I mean, the only adjustment I would make is possibly putting in JaMychal Hasty over David Johnson.
I mean, I'm not jazzed about David Johnson, but he's getting double-digit looks.
Jeff Wilson's not going to play. Elijah Mitchell may not play. Trey Sermon's hurt. Who else do they have? They just picked up Brian Hill that was on Atlanta last year to the practice squad. They literally don't have anybody else.
Yeah, JaMychal Hasty hasn't played since week 9.
But they don't trust in Hasty when somebody goes down. He's more of a pass game guy. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But if Mitchell's not in, Sermon's injured, and Jeff Wilson can't play, you don't have anybody else.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Deebo Samuel's hurt.
I'm not doing it.
That's my only adjustment though. Is I would consider Hasty pending Elijah Mitchell being out.
Yeah. Seattle also gives up a shit ton of points to running backs.
Yeah.
So I believe they're first or second in the league against running backs in terms of points, fantasy points allowed. So it's not super important because nobody cares about this matchup except for Boyer. I'm going to move to Walker's team. He's got Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. That should be an embarrassment for the Bears. Hunter Renfrow, Odell Beckham Jr., Tony Pollard, Matt Breida, Kyle Pitts, AJ Green, Pittsburgh kicker, Chargers defense. He's got several guys on a bye on the bench. Antonio Brown, who is now suspended for 3 games. Walker, you can go ahead and drop him because you're not making consolation. You might make consolation if I lose some games and you win some games, but you probably don't need Antonio Brown unless you're hoping to keep him. And then JD McKissic against Dallas, who didn't play last week because he was hurt. Gaskin being on a bye is a bummer for you because I don't know that I want to be playing Breida coming off 1 carry in a game where the weather dictated that everybody had to carry the ball against the Tampa Bay run defense. You can't start that. You can't play that. There's got to be somebody better on waivers. You just can't. So I don't know if McKissic is expected to play this week. Maybe you're okay rolling those dice, but if it's my team, I can't play Breida this week. Boyer, what would you do? You're highly invested in Walker winning this matchup and leaving the door open for you to pass duo.
Yeah, I'm not playing Breida. It was, I think it was a couple weeks ago where they kind of played with Breida having more of a feature role because Singletary and Moss were so disappointing, and Breida's got juice, but he's just not a feature guy. And so if you put him in, you're hoping that the 3 touches that he gets a 20-yard carry and maybe he punches into the touchdown somewhere. But he's not a volume guy. He's not going to get the ball a bunch. That's clear from what you saw last week when they should have been handing him and every other running back the ball constantly, just like New England did, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can trust Breida worth anything. And this is a game that you want to win because, I mean, as Walker's not really in naked contention right now, but if he loses and I win, there's a chance that he would be naked if things don't work out in that last game of the season. So for me, this is going to be a low scoring game. Just put in the guy who's going to give you points, 4 or 5 points, whatever keeps it close, keeps you in it. That's all you got to do.
So real quick, Latavius Murray is on waivers. Alex Collins is on waivers. You got Carlos Hyde if James Robinson is still nicked up at any way, shape, or form. But other than that, you got Rex Burkhead, maybe.
I think I like any of those guys better than Breida against the Bucs this week.
Agreed.
So, I mean, at least those guys have been getting some touches.
Yeah, I mean, Collins, I think, is probably the name that piques my interest the most, but because really for Walker, like his standings within his slot within the final standings isn't going to move very much. This is the last matchup that matters to him, because this prevents the duo from catching him. So you got to play for this week, and that means you got to make a move. I find it interesting that he's got Folk and the Colts defense both on his bench when he could stand to make a move. I think either of those guys are worth holding on to if that's what you're interested in. But like I said, you got to play for this week because this is his best chance of getting another win this year. So holding a kicker and a defense through the bye to try to compete against Jeremy next week, it doesn't make sense to me. Make sure you get your running back in.
Yeah. I mean, I considered a couple of these running backs over Ty Johnson, but I
Yeah.
didn't really know what to do. So,
All
all
right,
right. So who's gonna win this matchup?
Boyer, who you got?
I got Walker.
Ty, who you taking? Or do you want me to pick?
Go ahead. You can take a quick pick.
I'm going to take Walker purely because Aaron Rodgers is the only decent player in this entire matchup.
All right. I'm gonna take the duo.
Atta boy.
Sorry, Boyer. I'm being different this week. I'm making up ground. Duo, don't be
Honestly,
naked and
To be honest, I'm hoping that your luck stays where it's been at all year, and everything that you pick is the opposite, because that's best case scenario for me is Walker winning, I win, you went against both of those. That's perfect. I appreciate you doing your job to help me not take naked pictures.
I want to call out now. Ty is 4 picks behind Boyer and 5 picks behind me. And you
There's
picked
4
4
different
different from Boyer and 3 different from me.
but
So
I'm not gonna win the me game, so that's gonna hurt me one.
yeah, Charlie against Jeremy and Duo against Walker are both close matchups though. And you picked me to beat Boyer, so you're gaining a win on him there.
Right.
Hey,
We'll
hey,
cancel,
hey, hey,
out the me and Boyer picks.
hey.
Yeah, but
There's
I
a reason
picked
why we
Paul
play
and
the
me,
games,
so I'm
okay?
winning the game there.
Let's see how the field plays out. Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. With that, nothing exciting is happening that I know of, right? Colin, hopefully you enjoy Italy. It's probably nicer than here.
Ty,
But
your birthday's next week. You're turning 32. How's that feel?
I am,
Whoa. Old
I am
man
not
alert.
as old as you and not as old as most of the leagues, so it'll be okay.
Yet.
Yeah.
You
I'll
old
never
fart.
be technically as old as you. That's fine.
You're getting closer though.
I feel older than you, but it's fine.
You look older than me. Not since you shaved.
On
Or do
that
you have a
note,
joke? Was there a joke? I didn't have one this week.
No, I didn't have one, but I do have a joke. Ty's 31 going on 13.
Let me check
you,
my
Ty.
calendar. See if there's a joke worth doing.
uh-oh. Do we do this thing for Andy, or is this not a thing for Andy?
I don't think it's a thing. I don't think he cares.
Nope, it's not good. Not good. No,
No
no joke.
jokes. If you guys have jokes, write them in the comments below, and maybe we'll use them one time.
Yeah.
You guys can be better than us. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do your thing. Help us get, I don't know.
Beer money.
Yeah.
Step 1 is beer money. Step 2
beer
is
money.
better internet for Ty.
Miller Lite. Sponsor. Not a sponsor. Not a sponsor.
Sponsor.
I don't have any sponsors. Don't tell Andy and Boyer. All right. Well, you suck like always. Everybody else, win, lose, tie, preferably whatever I picked to win so that I can make up some ground. Otherwise, I don't really care. Enjoy your week. You all suck at fantasy, and we'll see you next week.